Okay, so yesterday or the last couple days we were graphing the quadratics right here. What we're doing today is we're actually finding this intersection point right here using math. So in this one you would have one solution where it hits the x-axis one time. This one you'd have two solutions, but as you can see it's kind of in between points and it's hard to tell where that is, and that is where the math comes in. Sometimes there is situations with no solutions. Like this, where it doesn't hit the x-axis at all. But in our problems today, we aren't going to have any of that situation happen. So, like I said, it starts out pretty much like review. For number one, we are going to factor this, and then set those factors equal to 0 and solve for x. So right here is a pretty simple problem. We are going to make two factors like this, the x here and x here. We need two numbers that add to -6 and multiply to -7. Like 1 and 7. So -7 and 1 would add to -6 and multiply to -7. So then we'll use these two factors here, and this equals 0. And then what we do is we set each of these equal to 0. So x minus 7 equals 0. And you probably remember doing this in Algebra 1. X equals -1. And then these are the two solutions. This is what we're looking for. Oh, there's a tornado drill. Pause. Can you hit play? Okay. So for number 2, yeah, I had it paused. Okay, so number 2, we have to make sure this is equal to 0 before we do anything. So we're just going to subtract 40 from both sides, and then we get x squared minus 18x minus 40 equals 0. And then we're going to factor it. So we need two numbers that add to this one and multiply to this one. And those numbers would be -20 and 2. And then I'm going to plug it in here.
Does it matter which side?
It doesn't. So we're going to set each of these equal to 0 and then just solve for x. Get this. Okay.
Does it just switch the sign?
Well, yeah, if you add 20 to both sides, like, I'm adding 20, I just didn't show this step.
Say it happened with 1 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just switch the sign.
Okay, so number 3, getting this equal to 0, we just put 15x on the other side. So 5x squared minus 15x equals 0. For this one, I notice I can pull a common factor out of both these terms. I can pull 5x out of both. So 5x, then you get x minus 3 equals 0. And now you can set each of these equal to 0. So pretend this has like parentheses on it. 5x equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0, and we solve for x. Okay. Looks like most of your heads are up already. I'll zoom out.
How did you get x minus 3?
I factored out a 5x here. So took out the 5x, and then I divided this by 5x to get x. Divided this by 5x to get 3. 15x divided by 5x would be 3. Okay, then number 4, we're going to continue doing the whole factoring thing. For number 4, remember, because this coefficient is at 1, we have to use the ACB chart. We're going to multiply. 5 times 1 is 5. B is -6. We need two numbers that multiply to 5 and add to -6. So that would be -5 and -1. Setting up our two factors here, 5x here and here. minus 5 and minus 1. Then with these terms, I'm looking for anything I can pull out. I can divide both these terms by 5 and simplify this. Look at this. Once I'm here, you know the deal. Set these both equal to 0 and solve for x.
Couldn't you have also divided 5x minus 1 by 5?
Because I can't divide 1 by 5. So x equals 1 and x equals 1/5. Okay, number 5. Again, I need to get this equal to 0, so I'm going to subtract these two to put them on the other side.
Could you not subtract 12x?
And put it on the other one?
Yeah.
You could, but then you get a negative, I don't know. Okay, so once you have it in this format, see if you can pull out any factors from all 3 terms, and you can pull out a 2. So we're going to divide everything by 2. So you get 6x squared minus 13x minus 5 equals 0. Then to factor this, I'm going to use the ACB chart. Multiply 6 times negative 5 to get negative 30. 15. I need 2 things that multiply to 30 and add to negative 13. What's that?
Negative 15 and 2.
Good call. So 3 and 10 is the one that stood out to me at first too. But the problem with 3 and 10 is like negative 3 and negative 10 would add to this, but then it would be positive 30 and not negative 30. So yeah, negative 15 and 2 would give us negative 30 and then the negative 13. So here we're going to write it like this: 6x minus 15, 6x minus 2.
Isn't it plus 2?
Is it plus 2? It is plus 2. Good call. Okay, so once we're here, then we need to pull out common factors if we can. I can divide both of these by 3 and both of these by 2.
Is there a way you could turn the air on?
Yeah, I do need to do that. I had the heat on this morning because it was cold.
You want the heater on? No.
This morning it was cold, but yeah, I can turn the air back on. Hold on. Okay.
Not that good.
Yeah.
It's toasty. It's
Cold.
not in here.
Yes, it is.
You're insane. It's not hot in here. It's just warm. It's very hot. It's noticeable.
Okay. Next.
Wait, what was the answer?
Are you keeping up?
Was x negative 1/3? No, I just needed the 1/3.
Okay, so number 6. Yes.
What do you do with the 2 on the outside of the 2 parentheses?
Nothing.
Nothing, it's just there.
Yeah, like if you put it, so if you put it here, you just divide by 2, it just comes out to 0. Like it
Okay.
cancels out anyway. Okay, so the next one, it gives us the roots P and Q, and it asks us to plug it in here like this. And then we just FOIL it out. So we got x minus 3, x minus negative 4 would just be x plus 4. And now we FOIL. First, it would be x times x is x squared. Outside 4 times x. Inside negative 3x. And then negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. Mm-mm.
No, that's a false.
It was like minus a negative, and then I added it to x.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, x squared plus x minus 12 equals 0. And we done there.
Do you not need to factor that?
So it was factored.
Oh, so
We were working backwards.
oh, okay.
Okay. Next, we're using the quadratic formula, which you may remember from Algebra 1. See? Good news, my second period said the quadratic formula felt easier than it did in Algebra 1, so that's good.
Can you go back to number 6 real quick?
Weren't there more parts?
Let's go.
No, that's it.
Thank you.
You're a great teacher, but it's just
You got it? Okay, next. Okay, quadratic formula is right here. All we're going to do is plug the values into the formula and then solve or simplify it, whatever is possible. So here we're starting out in standard form. So this would be A, B, and C. And then we plug that into the equation and then we solve. So just writing it out, negative B, so it'd be negative 5 plus or minus square root 5 squared minus 4
Is it not negative
A
5x?
C.
It says negative b and b is 5x.
It's 5. So B is just the coefficient, and A is just the coefficient, and C is the constant. Then 2 times 2. Okay. Now we simplify. We have to use order of operations, so we're going to square this 5 first, multiply these, and just solve it as we go through it.
My Algebra 1 teacher was so determined to make us memorize the quadratic formula
Oh.
that the day after she gave it to us, she gave us a
Okay,
quiz
hold on.
the next day.
I'm trying to get through this kind of quick. Okay. So square root of 1 is just 1, so we're going to get negative 5 plus or minus 1 over 4. This plus or minus would be like negative 5 plus 1 or negative 5 minus 1. So we're actually going to do two different problems, one with plus 1 and then one with minus 1.
Wait, you might have to scroll down a bit.
Oh, thank you.
Why is it plus 1?
What do you mean? Plus or minus. So we just wrote it plus 1 and then minus 1. Negative 4 divided by 4 would be 1. So x equals 1 over here. And then we get negative 6 over 4, or negative 3 halves. So x equals negative 3 halves over here. And those are the two solutions. Yes.
It's kind of off topic, but is this supposed to like make up?
Can you focus on what we're doing so we don't have to wait for you to copy? Okay, number 8. Number 8, we need to get it in standard form first, meaning we got to get 54 on the other side. So I'm actually going to use some of this room up here to maximize space. So I'm going to rewrite this up here.
Did you simplify it?
Just chill. 3x squared plus 54 equals 0. So our A would be 3. We don't have a B term, so B is 0. And then C is 54. And then we plug it into the equation. So negative 0 plus or minus. Cage, quiet. You're still talking. Okay. Okay, I plugged it in as is. Obviously, there's no such thing as negative 0. And then 0 squared is just going to be 0, but I'm just writing it out. We are going to keep this 0 here, the 0 plus or minus, because 0 plus a number isn't going to do anything, but 0 minus a number, you're going to get a negative. So I'm keeping this here even though it's just 0. So rewriting it and simplifying what's in here, I get 0 plus or minus 4 times 3 times 54 is 648.
Wouldn't it be negative 4?
Yeah. Okay, and once I get here, I'm going to simplify what's in this square root. We did this last chapter where we break it up into factors, and that's what I'm going to do next. 0 plus or minus. And then 648, you could just, it looks like it's divisible by 4 to me. Like 648 divided by 4, I get 162. So I got, and then the negative 1 is going to be square root of negative 1, which will be I. I just took out a square root of 4. What else can I take out? 2. So I get square root of 2. I'm just taking either prime numbers, or like numbers that don't have a square root, or square root numbers. Like 81, I can break that up into 9 and 9. Square root of 9 times square root of 9. And put that over 6. Okay, then further simplifying, 0 plus or minus, square root of negative 1 is I, square root of 4 is 2, square root of 9 times square root of 9 is 9, and then I'm left with just square root of 2 over 6. I'm getting there.
Is that an
Yeah, remember square root of negative 1 is I.
I? Oh.
0 plus or minus 18I square root of 2 over 6 is where I'm at now. And once I'm here, if I can divide all the terms by the same number, I can actually simplify this. So I can divide this by 6, I can divide this by 6, and I could divide 0 by 6, so it'd just be 0. So I'm going to divide everything by 6. So divide this by 6 to get 1, divide this by 6 to get 3, divide this by 6 to get 0. So I get 0 plus or minus 3I square root of 2 over 1, which is just that. So then the two answers would be positive 3I square root of 2 and negative 3I square root of 2. And now we're smart. It's like literally just putting everything together.
I don't like this. The quadratic formula questions always take so long, even the shorter
You
ones.
put it all together, yeah. Okay, well, on the homework, we're ready for the homework. We're going to do the last 2 problems so we get more practice. But the homework's only 5 questions. And if you get a quadratic problem, you'll probably only get 1 because it's mostly the factoring stuff.
Are we doing homework now, or are we doing the...
No, I'm going to finish it. Okay. Hey, chill. Okay. Number 9. We got to get this equal to 0 minus 10x plus negative 3 or minus 3 equals 0. Wait, where am I? So I'm at 9. Then we have our A, B, and C right here, and then plugging it in. Negative 10. Okay. And we continue. Then for 172, breaking it up into factors to see what I can simplify. 172, and I know I can divide that by 2, so I can take out a 2, square root of 2. Take out another 2. And then I get 43, which is prime, so I can't take any more factors out of that.
How did you find the factors?
I just took stuff out. So for example, 172, I can take out 2. So I did that. So then I put square root of 2. And then I realized I can take out another 2, so divide it by 2 again and write it down. And then I'm left with 43, which I would try to take out another factor, maybe like 3 or something, but 43 is actually prime. Like I'm not going to be able to take anything out. So then I just leave it. And then the 2 square root of 2 is just, that becomes 2. And then for this, all 3 terms I have here can be divided by 2. So I'm going to simplify. Divide by 2. So I get 5 plus or minus square root of 43 over 6. And we're done. If you were looking for a decimal answer, you could plug this into a calculator, but that's the simplest form as far as that. Uno más. So 10, it doesn't get any harder than this. We're just literally repeating at this point. So just plugging in the numbers into the equation.
Could you zoom in a little bit?
Then I won't be able to show everything. Maybe this. Is that better? Oh, sorry. We done.
Why do you have to divide by 2 instead of negative 2?
I guess you can. I don't know. That's the way Miss Adams had it, so I figured it was just to get rid of like just to make it simpler. And then here, this would technically then be negative I, but with the plus or minus, it would just be opposite anyway. Okay, pausing this.